What is going on, guys? So we're back in episode 3 of Behind the Map, and this time it's City Survival. So for those that haven't played SnapMap in a while or don't own Doom 2016 yet, this is actually my most popular map right now. It's actually number 1 on the custom geometry section, number 1 in challenge, and I think it's number 3 for survival. It's a very popular map, and I think there's definitely a lot I'm gonna have to say for this map. I really didn't expect my last map, 3 Dimensions, to really go to the 30-minute range, and I really hope I won't do that again because I want these videos to last around 15 to 20 minutes at most. And yeah, it's just that 3 Dimensions, it was a very big map. It took me a while to finish too, so yep, there was a lot I had to say. But let's get started with City Survival. So City Survival, this is actually my very second attempt at making a cyberpunk map. My very first one was Virtual World, and I will eventually talk more about that eventually. But when for City Survival, I definitely tried to experiment with making city maps with the player blocking volumes or blocking boxes. And back then I was using the textured option, not in the current state of City Survival, where we had the texture. I mean, we have a lot more options with the textures. We have the decals and all of that stuff, where I've definitely made it evolve in how it looks. It looks so much better than it used to look. But yeah, so that's kind of the very early beginnings of City Survival. And I was working on this map on and off when I was working on my Courtyard remake, but my Courtyard remake mostly um took the time because I wanted to try to focus on one project. I don't really like focusing on 2 projects at the same time. I always want to make sure I'm guaranteed to finish one of the maps. So once I was done with um the Courtyard, I decided to kind of start experimenting more with how I can make a city with the player blocking volumes. And I basically looked at a lot of cyberpunk city pictures, a lot of pictures over the internet, just try to Google it as much as I can, just try to get inspired, just try to get ideas. And yeah, it basically took me a while to kind of finish this entire area, although it's not really my hardest map I worked on, but it definitely took a while to finish it. And I also tried to make sure it looked nice and all of that stuff. And originally this map was supposed to be a campaign, a single player type of experience, but I remember I abandoned it because I just felt it kind of felt weird. Doom guy. I mean, you're in a freaking cyberpunk city and you're killing demons. It just didn't really fit that well. And I think another thing was, um, maybe I wasn't really confident enough in making a full out city level, because there's only one module for city survival. It's not multiple modules. So I guess I was still trying to build up confidence with making city levels with the player blocking volumes. So I abandoned the whole idea of having of making this map into a single player experience. And I was kind of thinking about making a deathmatch map, because I was having a lot of fun jumping around buildings over buildings when I was done with this block. I think when I first started making city survival, I worked on this entire block first, and then eventually I'll move on to the other blocks. But yeah, I was having a lot of fun just jumping around buildings after buildings. And then I kind of realized, you know what, maybe I should try to make this into a survival map. I think this could be kind of cool, because I tried to make a survival map when SnapMap was first released, but the problem with SnapMap on launch day was that there was a lot of options that kind of screwed me over, and I never was able to create the survival map that I wanted to. So I kind of decided to give survival maps another chance, because at this time this was free update too. There was so much stuff that we could do with the options of the items. For example, I can specifically set timers on the items, and where is it, weapons actually have like their own individual ammo, and that was good because the problem was like, when you put a BFG on a survival map and we only had like the ammo boxes back then, like it completely sucked because the BFG was so broken when you had like the ammo boxes. You basically get full ammo, and yeah, it was just not really like great for survival experience, or at least the type of survival map that I was trying to make. But yeah, I decided to give it a shot, and once I completed it, I really enjoyed playing it on solo. But personally, when it comes to like survival maps, I feel like they're best played on co-op. So I decided to like release a beta because I wanted to try to like play this map with friends and see how like things would go. So another thing I should tell you about is the damage modifier for the demons. In all of my, well, not all of my, but in most of my single player maps, or like the campaign maps, it's 250. But when I was um trying out 250 in the early stages of city survival, I just thought it was way too much for like a survival map. So originally when I made the beta, I made it 150. And I thought 150 was kind of nice, but after playing a lot of it, I just felt like it wasn't quite there. And eventually, I increased it up to 175, and 175 is just absolutely perfect. I don't really think like there's any need to change that number. Like I don't have to lower it or increase it. It just feels absolutely perfect for a survival experience because where is it? I use the AI conductor, and there's definitely like a lot of fast spawns. Uh, There's definitely a lot of fast spawns, and I just feel like that's perfect. And not only that, that was kind of like how city survival was back in the beta days. I still had like the whole idea where if you picked up stronger weapons, you will spawn in stronger enemies, but it was mostly heavily relied on this AI conductor thing. And this is definitely like a thing. I mean, this little logic right here, you definitely want to use it for your survival maps, of course. But at the same time, when I was like playing it, I felt like there could be more to it, and I think this was like um during like the official release. So in the beta, I gotta like try to focus on one subject here. I keep like jumping over to different subjects, but about the beta. So the beta, it got a lot of like good reviews. Like it got I don't really remember like the exact reviews, but I was getting like so many likes and like very few dislikes. So I was really like proud that a lot of people were enjoying city survival. And eventually, a friend of mine, he wanted like more emphasis on the parkour system. So I try to like kind of add more stuff that you can like jump or climb on. And I really love this whole like idea right here. So this was eventually going to be like added to like the official release, and it's definitely nice. You can definitely like create some cool trick jumps to it. For example, you can actually like jump up here without like needing to jump over here. And yeah, the parkour idea, it was definitely nice, and I definitely agreed with his criticism right there. And eventually, for the official release date, I increased the damage, so because I felt like the damage was a little too low back in the 150 damage days, and I did like a lot of like other small things that I probably don't remember, like maybe changing some of the item placements. And yeah, eventually we got to like the official release where I didn't really change too much stuff, but then again, I felt like the beta kind of like got a lot of the things right, but at the same time, I knew in the future that there was gonna be like more changes for the map to be made. Like maybe once I get more like textures or more weapons included, like I knew I was gonna like eventually update that for city survival. So eventually, let's talk about like the enemy spawns for now on. So I was really enjoying like the official release of City Survival, but I felt like it wasn't intense enough. I just felt like something was kind of missing, and eventually I decided to add like a little thing that I call like the Elite Waves system. So basically, there's like a timer here, and basically it will start the timer when I think, yep, when the AI conductor starts spawning. And basically, these timers, they kind of like spawn in the much tougher enemies right off the bat. It's basically there to spice up the firefights. Make the firefights a lot more intense. But not only that, it's also to like encourage you to explore the map because this map, it's very like demanding on on the exploration stuff. You really need to explore. I don't want you to like be stuck using that like crappy shotgun, which the shotgun's only good for like a couple of ways, but later on you need to like really start exploring the map. So yeah, I did that to kind of like spice up the combat, and obviously it's gonna play another timer and another timer, and every time this timer finishes, it's gonna spawn even tougher enemies, and it just keeps on looping and looping. And yeah, I was really proud of that. But after playing more and more of City Survival, I felt like, what is it? Once you get to like the 25-minute zone of the map, I was just getting really bored of it. Like, I remember like playing, I think like 2 or 3 players, and we were just completely destroying like the monsters, and I was just getting extremely bored. Like once we survived for so long, so this is where I knew I had to like figure out something to keep city survival super like interesting or very fun if you manage to survive so long, or if you're like a good player and you're teaming up with other good players. So this part right here, this is what I call the nighttime sequence. Basically, if you manage to survive for at least 20 minutes, the enemies they become much tougher. You basically lose health and you lose armor. Or eventually, it was like supposed to be the other way around. Like I wanted the enemies to like have a lot of damage and stuff, but I found out the AI proxy was kind of like broken at that time, so I had to use a player proxy. And this thing, oh my god, it was so frustrating to like make it work properly, because when I was playing it with like friends, my friends always like ended up losing a lot of health and armor, but the host didn't for some reason. So I had to like figure out how to fix it, and eventually I just copied like the same logic system by, what is it? I think it's mission 11 or mission 10 by Behemoth Programmer. I basically just copied like his little like match join system there, and it worked perfectly. It finally like worked the way I wanted to, and it took me a long time to really figure that out. And it was just annoying me like so much, man, because I really don't like when when there's like a broken logic that's going on in my map, because that always annoyed me. And yep, eventually, once I kind of like found out the decals, and I realized how great they are, and I realized that you can actually create real neon lights, I obviously took advantage of that. And what else? Yeah, I took advantage over that, but obviously I kind of like found out if you put too much decals on the map, you couldn't like play it in co-op back in free update 4. So it really sucked that I had to like redo everything. I remember that took a long time to redo it, even though it's a very simple job. You're just basically just like, you're just pretty much looking at the decals and then just make a player blocking volume and just copy like the height and width. But it was so boring. Like there's not a lot of fun things you can do about that. But luckily, in free update 5 they fixed that issue. And now, I put all like the decals back on, and the map just looks so much prettier. Like these decals, they totally make these like textured um player blocking volumes look like an actual futuristic city, rather than like taking out the decals where they don't even look like the freaking city at all. Like you have to like use a lot of imagination. And what else can I say? Oh yeah, so you know, I really love this map. When I first completed it, I kind of like wanted to expand the formula of this map. I eventually made nightclub survival, and it's basically like the same concept except with different geometry. And then I pretty much continued that for like 2 more maps. I made a map called Dead Simple Survival. It's a remake of Dead Simple, except it has pretty much the same gameplay concept. And I really like Dead Simple Survival. Like I just think the whole idea of it is just perfect. Cause Dead Simple, it's almost like a survival experience when you first played it on Doom 2. So, why not make it into a survival map? And then of course, the new kid on the block, Luminous Shadows Survival, pretty much like a neon light themed arena. And I've been, trying to like tweak out a lot of the gameplays for that one. I think there's still room for improvements, but it's definitely a lot of fun, and I feel like it's kind of like a hybrid of city survival and nightclub survival as far as gameplay goes. And I always thought like nightclub survival was kind of like more faster pace and more harder than City Survival. So Luminous Shadows kind of like have that sweet spot in the middle between City and Nightclub. All right, so what else can I say? Oh yeah, I eventually kind of like took this billboard as like an advertisement advantage. I always thought this was kind of cool, and it just kind of makes sense. And I did, and what is it? Throughout the official release, I did change like a lot of item placements. This chain gun used to be like around here, but I just kind of felt like it didn't make sense. And I remember there was like a what is it? The little grenade where you can control demons. I was always kind of like mixed with that item. I always felt like it was kind of OP, and not only that, it kind of like ruins the spawns too. Like if you have so many demons like on your control, it kind of like ruins the enemy spawn. So I completely took that item out, and I don't think I'm ever gonna like bring it back again. And matter of fact, City Survival to me, it's supposed to be like a deathmatch experience with demons. You're supposed to like fight demons, not like have demons on your side. But I think I'm gonna try to like wrap it up here. So City Survival, I really love this map. It's definitely one of my best maps. I'm really grateful for it. I mean, for like the success. Like I said, man, like this map didn't get like featured by id Software. I never got any of my maps featured, but for some reason, a lot of people really enjoyed this map, and it kind of like the popularity just grew so much. Like I never really thought like I would see this map, make it to #1 on the custom map geometry category, or make it #1 on the challenge category. Like it's just crazy, and I got so many like plays on this map. Like people are playing this map like every freaking day. It's just really awesome to like have that type of experience. And it's also awesome when I'm like looking for games and I see people like hosting the game, and I'll like join in, and people will like recognize me and they give me like a shout out, say a lot of like nice stuff about my map and all that stuff. It's just really cool to have all of that experience. What else can I say? um oh yeah, so personally I do think like City Survival, like basically if id Software ever like created an official survival mode, I feel like City Survival should be kind of like a blueprint of how their survival mode should be, basically like a deathmatch experience against demons, focusing on map control, focusing on movement, focusing on staying alive, no like economy, no none of that type of stuff. Basically like, playing deathmatch against demons. And that's what City Survival is pretty much all about. It makes you feel like you're playing, deathmatch. And I got a lot, and even though I personally believe that I created like the best formula for like a survival experience for Doom, I still got a lot of respect for like the maps that were popular. But oh my god, I hate this glitch so much, dude. I still got like a lot of respect for the maps that were popular back in the pre-patch days, like the cartoon kill zone map and the ultimate survival map. I really did enjoyed those maps, and I personally think they hold up pretty well even though they were made back in the pre-patch days. Especially Ultimate Survival, I really enjoyed Ultimate Survival so much when I was like working on City Survival. That map is just a lot of fun to play. And anything else I want to add? Okay, I almost forgot. I'll try to like talk about why I use these classic textures here. So when id Software, I mean, yeah, when id Software updated like the what is it? Updated the textures, I didn't really like the new textured option because they actually kind of like changed how they look a little bit. Actually, they changed it completely. So I had to like figure it out how to like change the floor textures, and I decided just to use like the classic textures and just kind of like change the color to teal because it looked nice. And not only that, I just feel like it kind of works at the same time. It's just kind of hard to like explain it. I really liked it like this one right here, and I actually wanted like every block to like have their own unique textures just to like make it look nice. And not only that, these are the classic textures too. I don't know if you can see it, but they are like the classic texture. It's like the little neon light one. Not this one though, but it's kind of like thinner lights. And what else can I say? Alright, I think I'm gonna pretty much end it here. I definitely love City Survival. Definitely one of my best maps here. Definitely my most sentimental map because it's the one that I kind of like got mainstream success, I guess. Because back when I was making maps, I was pretty much getting like no attention, no plays at all, and I think it's because people were making a lot of maps, and not only that, I was still trying to like learn how to use SnapMap optimally. So that's another thing, but it's definitely nice that ever since City Survival kind of like blew up and gave me that pop success, people are definitely checking out more of my other maps, and that's definitely nice. And all I can say is that I do hope to like have more updates for City Survival. Like if there is a Cyber Demon coming soon, I will definitely add a Cyber Demon, or maybe like more guns that I feel like is balanced enough for City Survival. I will definitely do that. And yeah, I really hope this map only like evolves to get better, because personally I feel like City Survival, every like patch or every like changes that I make in this map, it only gets better and better. Like there's no way I I would like want to go back and play like the beta days of City Survival, or like the very first official release day of City Survival, because City Survival is better than ever. It's better than ever than it once was. And I almost forgot, I actually added like the options to change your filter effects, mainly because a fan who was nice enough, who was really kind enough to like critique my new filter effect, because actually changed the filter effect because I wanted to make like the decal effects more stronger or more enhanced, so I changed the filter effect. But you can go back to like the more classic version if you want to, if you know where like the filter options are. So I decided to do that because I'm always open for criticism. I don't really consider myself to be like a god map maker. I don't feel like every decision I make is perfect. So if there's any sort of criticism you can give me, I will definitely take take a hold of it, and I'll see what I can do about it. And with that said, I think I'm officially done with my, thoughts on this map. If you've been playing this map a lot lately, thanks for all like the plays and thanks for the support. And yeah, I just hope like in the future we will get like some more interesting updates to SnapMap. And if there's anything good or reasonable for City Survival, I will definitely update it. With that said, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.